it feels like it should be a day that's sad. But I feel like this is the dawn of a new era. Yes, Pete Carroll, the man who took a team that in his first season, what was it? Tavares Jackson, Clipboard Jesus, Charlie Whitehurst were like 7-9 and they made a playoff push to a team that became the Legion of Boom around Marshawn Lynch and the incredible defense and of course Russell Wilson, to this guy who's now been Dwayne Casey, Brad Stevens, and moved into an advisory role. It's good. Because I feel like a guy like Dan Quinn, who was a part of that original, upstart team, is going to be able to come in here and really fulfill or continue the culture and the success that the city of Seattle has felt and been able to witness. And I think this team is still there. They're not a bad team. Are they in the middle of the pack? Yes, but that's a great starting route instead of from the bottom. Nobody wants to be the Carolina Panthers, let's be honest. And I think Seattle has a chance to take advantage of what they have. Let's get right into it. Let me hear your thoughts down below. Who do you think will be the head coach? And do you guys agree? Dan Quinn, let's get right into it. So Pete Carroll, after 14 years, the man who led the team to a Super Bowl, the gum-chewing man, is out. And it was amicable, they said. Now, the reason I think they needed a new start is, if you looked at this team, we'll pull up the stats right here. They were 17th in points per game. Offensively, they were middle of the pack. They weren't anything special. And then defensively, they were even worse. They allowed 23.6 points per game. Something that Seattle's was known for is their rushing team. Like, they're just being a good rushing team. And they only averaged 93 yards per game collectively, not one person. And Kenneth Walker was a great player last year. And they have DK Metcalf. They have the weapons. They have the playmakers. They're a team passing middle of the pack, 245 yards, but that's fine. That's fine. Geno Smith is a very capable quarterback. And even if you don't believe it, he's a good trade asset. This is a team that finished 9-8, still with a winning record. But if we look holistically at their stats, 21st in yards per game, and then total plays on offense, last in the league. They averaged, 11th in the league, 5.5 yards per play. There were many moments that they were really good, but then in even pass yard average, they got big plays. They were still a big play team. But again, bad at rushing the ball. But a good thing about Pete Carroll in Seattle was they were always a good rushing team. Marshawn Lynch, Chris Carson. There was even moments with Robert Turbin and Christine Michael. There was moments in the past that there was always a rushing attack. But that's not here anymore. And when I look at this team, I really do think that there's a possibility for them to still be good. As you guys see in these highlights reels, look at this team. I want to hear you Seattle fans. Do you guys agree this team isn't that far away? They just need, I feel like you heard it from Jordan Schultz and Pat McAfee was talking about that it went stale. It got stale. The message, the motivation. I think Pete Carroll just lost that fire. And that's why a guy like Dan Quinn, who, if you remember, Dan Quinn, guys, he was the one who was kind of the architect in terms of the coordinator for that Legion of Boom defense. And guess what? He's been coaching the last couple years. He could have been a coach, okay? He could have been a coach. But the thing is he's been with Dallas, and look how good Dallas is at defense. And he was a coach with the Falcons. And guess what happened when he was a coach with the Falcons? He went to the Super Bowl. He is a 500 coach. 506. Technically, he is above 500 coach. So I think obviously he's a guy who's gotta. He had interviews last year with the Broncos, Cardinals, and the Colts. And when you look at the rest of this team, even Drew Lock, he came out and he had his moments. If you were to want to go into a rebuild, I don't think they need to. They got a two-headed backfield with Zach and Kenneth. Okay, I think those guys are dogs. Those are great. Then you got a two-headed wide receiver corps with Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. And then I know Jackson Smith was supposed to be, I'm going to butcher, is it Jigba, right? Jackson Smith Jigba. And he started to come out a little later in the year, and they have a good receiving corps. And Noah Fant, he's a middle-of-the-road tight end. But the rest of, Will Dissly, Colby Parkinson, they still have talent around there. And then, of course, defensively, you still got, Bobby Wagner, who had 183 tackles, Julian Love, Jordan Brooks, who's the future, Quandre Diggs, Devon Witherspoon's a dog. All right. You got 4 interceptions, by the way, from Julian Love, 2 from Jaron Reed. Okay, you got Rick Woolen. You still got yourself, I know Tyreek. I don't know why I said Rick. Tyreek. Reek Woolen, by the way, and Trey Brown, Devin Bush. Like, there's talent on this defense. There's talent all around this team. So if you're looking at this, why do I think they should go out and get Dan Quinn? Because the defense was the problem, and surprisingly, the offense is something that I feel could be fixed easily with a new play caller. You go out and you get one of those Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay disciples like everybody else is doing, okay? I know everyone's sick and tired of it, but come on. Don't if it's working, it's a copycat league. We got to copy everybody else. Let's go out. And if Eric Bieniemy gets fired from Washington because they moved on from Ron Rivera, go get Eric Bieniemy. Then get a head coach in Dan Quinn. I mean, if Jim Harbaugh or somebody else, sure. But I really do believe in the fact that they need to go get a guy defensive first, fix this defense, get a good offensive coordinator, because defense wins championship, and rushing the ball in December is how you win. Old school Seattle football. It's not even old school. What Seattle was doing 10 years ago with Marshawn Lynch. Okay, they have the running backs to do this. We saw Kenneth do it. We've seen Zach do it. That's a good little duo they have right there. I do think Geno's a good quarterback. I think he's Super Bowl capable quarterback as a game manager. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh my God, he's going to do everything you need, because that'd be a lie. But I do have faith in this team to go out and provide, the fans of Seattle a good quality team if they have a good offseason. Because they're also, listen to this, what they're projected in cap space this upcoming season. They're actually a team that isn't in cap hell next year. The Seahawks cap space for next season is going to be quite interesting, as with the salary cap at 242, the Seahawks would have somewhere in the neighborhood of $3 million space available. Now, before anyone runs to the comment section saying, yes, that number does include the rollover of unused 2023 salary cap. So with a lot of the advantages you could end up having is they could do, make a little bit of some moves, like moving on from Will Dissly and Quandre Diggs, and effectively move up to $25 million in cap space, and even up to $31 million in cap space. So they have some wiggle room to make some moves. There's even the idea of Jamal Adams being moved on, that they would be able to create cap space easily for themselves. So I think there's a really good kind of like Play-Doh for a team to come in, and it's good Play-Doh to mesh it into what you want it. Because this team can either go into a smash mouth run team with good play action, lead with a defense. I think everything starts with the defense. Or they can really be either a team similar to the 49ers, or where they're, just running the ball 30 times a game. Then you have 15 play actions, and that way you have like 45 scripted plays that are always going to work, and then you only have to worry about 5 to 15 plays, because there's usually only 60 plays on offense each team gets at most, that might be a little wildly or creative. And that's very similar to the 49ers. Or you could be big play, kind of like the Chiefs, and take advantage, maybe if you want to go get that quarterback. And that's where I think this team, you gotta be on the same page. This is fun, and I'm excited. I want to hear your thoughts on what do you think of the Seattle situation. If you guys are on the same page as me, I really am excited to see what they can do with this team.